guys refocused, I think, on Missouri?
I think so. Week 13, our guys have gotten into good practice habits probably the last 6 or 7 weeks, and they came out. It was pretty businesslike tonight. I mean, there wasn't a lot of messing around, and we just had a very solid practice. They went about their business, and I think they're getting to the point where they know what's at stake, and obviously they're very confident right now. So I thought it was a good night.
Talk about Missouri's defense you'll be facing, Coach.
Tell you what, they're really good. I think the first thing that stands out to me, they're just a really good overall team defense. They're extremely disciplined. You don't seem to get a lot of cheap ones, which I know has kind of been that defense coordinator's kind of history, a lot of bend but don't break scenarios. But, they're really disciplined. They're always where they're supposed to be. They're solid tacklers. But what really stands out after that is that front four is really good. I mean, their defensive ends, the Sam kid, Coney Ely, they got the other two guys play just about as much as them. I mean, those guys are really active. I think Sam's leading the league in sacks and tackles for loss. They get after you, and the inside guys are big. They got a couple 6'5" guys that are long. I mean, they're really disruptive. They're violent, explosive. So that front four really, concerns me, to be honest with you. They're really good. They're really good at what they do. That's probably why they're top 2 in the league in rushing and leading the league in sacks. Their linebackers are really good players, solid football players, good instincts. They make plays, and they've been really good on the back end. I think they've got 18 interceptions. So they do a lot of things well. That's why they're 11-1 in the SEC championship game.
Rhett, we've seen be saying the same thing the last 3 games, really, about the defensive lines being, top in the league. And y'all are still getting those yards, getting what you need. What do you attribute to that?
I don't know. We were talking about that today. I think when we played Georgia, they were second in the league. Alabama was first. Now Missouri's moved up to second in the league against the rush. And, this time of year we've just been playing really good teams. And our offensive line has done a really good job. Pretty much every game this year we've had success running the football. They've done a really good job on the first level. Not giving up penetration, getting movement at the point of attack, and then Trey and Nick and Cameron and Corey and those guys have done a really good job because they've gotten them 3, 4, 5 yards down the field. They do a really good job at making that first guy miss or reading and pressing off blocks and stuff. And sometimes even when you maybe don't get to a linebacker and a safety, that gives you guys a chance. But I think a lot of the credit goes to our kids, guys up front. We've challenged them each week to play physical Auburn football, and I think they've done that.
Can you speak specifically about just the last month with Nick and what he's been doing? And I know Coach Malzahn said that he thinks he should be in a Heisman discussion.
Yeah, well, look, in a year when I seem to be having trouble deciding who they want to give it to, you look at all the teams that are winning and who's most valuable to their team. I don't think you can say any more about Nick than what he's been able to do to get us to where we're at. He's, no question, our team leader. Our guys believe in him, and he just seems to make play after play after play. The other night, no turnovers, 3 touchdowns, against, at the time, the #1 defense and #1 team in the country, and big-time plays when we needed them. A 3rd down, 45-yard touchdown run, a 2nd down touchdown pass, can't be thrown any better, and, of course, with 32 seconds left, a touchdown pass to tie the game. So I don't know what all you got to do, but I'm proud of him. He's getting better, and he's obviously much more confident, and he'd be the first to tell you he's more worried about winning this week.
When you look back at that very first drive against Washington State to where he is now, it's night and day. What are your thoughts?
I'll probably look back and reflect a whole lot more here in a couple weeks when we're done, but I do still remember the first snap he ever took. He dropped the snap. So we've probably come a long way, but, when you're the kind of young man he is, when you have his character and he's coachable. There was no ego, there was no laziness. He wants to work hard, he wants to be coachable, he wants to do everything you ask him to do the best he can and win. And then, like I said, he's just got that instinct to be a winner. And he's gotten better and better, and probably around the Ole Miss games when it started to slowly click for him, and he's gotten better each week since then, I think.
It gets lost in that because of the last play. It gets lost with that past 32 seconds. It seemed like there's a lot involved that he had to do, from switching hands to the right touch to not going over the line. How hard is that to do?
It's real hard. There was a lot that gets lost in that game the way it ended. It was a great football game. It was 28-all, about to go to overtime. I thought it was a really good game. But, we had ran the play on 3rd and 2 before. We had 3 timeouts. That was a luxury we had. And anytime you have that allows you to call plays differently because you can run the ball if you need to. And that keeps the defensive coordinator has to call things differently too because he knows you can stop the clock. And we got it on 3rd and 2 with 50 seconds, or I don't know what it was. It was getting low. But we were around the 35, and we knew we were about to have to start throwing it. But Nick handed the ball, probably because it was 3rd and 2 more than anything, but he looked over at us and was like, hey, run that again. he saw it. Like, I know I can keep it. I saw, and we had seen the corner kind of fall off of Sammy, and then he knew he could keep it. So, you know, we called it again, and I remember saying something to Coach about the time, and we were going to call a timeout probably after that play, but, you know, when you got a player like that, he's in the game. When he sees it, feels it, you trust him, and he made the play. But, yeah, to have the ball in your left hand and pull up and get it in your right, I'd like to say that that's coaching, but that's just a heck of a play.
Rhett, talk about what, I guess, the luxury is to have a guy like Trey who has explosiveness, does all those things. But he got 29 carries against Alabama, no negative yards. He kind of always seems to find a way to get positive yards.
It does. He always falls forward. He has incredible balance. I mean, a couple of those 4th and 1s this year, I mean, the balance he's had, incredible. The long run he had, I mean, he had incredible balance to make that run. And it just goes hand in hand. He can get through the smallest creases. He's just patient enough and can explode when it's there. And it goes back to the line. We don't, you know, they've done a great job of not giving up penetration, which gets him started. And with a great running back like him, you get him started, good things are going to happen. But that's our challenge this week, because the way Missouri's defensive line is, they're very disruptive. So we're going to have to be as good as ever up front of staying on those down guys and giving them a chance.
Is there anything pass protection-wise that maybe an easy fix for you guys going forward? Because they had 3 sacks.
Yeah, the 3 sacks, you know, the first one was a protection bust. You know, I mean, Trey just, his fundamentals were off and let the guy inside of him. We had everybody accounted for, and he just let the guy inside, and Nick wasn't really able to escape it. You know, the second one, Nick, they just only brought 5 guys, and it was man-to-man, so Nick was sliding up in the pocket to take off running. He would have probably ran for a while, and he just let the guy trip him up. I mean, very rarely does that happen. A guy just grabbed his ankle and him go down. So that would be on him. And then the third one, they got us. I mean, they brought a blitz that we were hot, and that happens. And, you know, they had the right call on at the right time, and it got us. So, you know, of all those 3, the first 2 are fixable. You protect it, you know, better and do what you're coached to do. The second one, Nick's just got to, you know, make a play, which he normally does. And the third one, they got us. So I feel good about where we are protection-wise still. I mean, like I said, that's one of the best blitzing defenses in the country. So, you know, but the negative plays hurt us. I think we had 27 lost yards on sacks.
Brett, Gus credited you and your relationship with Nick, you know, for his development and the offense's development. What is it about that relationship? I mean, can you kind of speak to how it's grown in the last several months?
Well, it's like any relationship. The longer you're around, the more trust you have, and just the better feel for people, and the better you know them. But it all goes back. He's been coachable. I mean, from day one, you know, whether you're teaching him something early on, or whether you're getting onto him and ripping him, or however it is you're doing it, he responds well all the time. He's always respectful, yes or no, sir. And not only does he respond right, but then his actions, you know, follow it. You know, he's very rarely have you had to tell him something twice. And so I give him all that credit from being coachable and then just having the will and the desire to try to get better. I mean, you know, you look at the last 2 ball games, when we needed to make throws, he made throws. He made really good throws, very efficient. So he knows you don't have to keep doing that, but you can tell he's working on it and he's getting a lot better. So I think just time and feeling more comfortable around each other, I guess.
You might not be able to answer this, but Chris Davis, you know, you were here in 2010, so was he. I don't know if you dealt with him much then or now, but have you seen much progression, or how's he changed both as a person and as a football player from then and now?
I've dealt with him too much. I was at Stanford in 11, had to play him, and we didn't throw his way one time on purpose. I mean, we knew he was the one guy that we didn't have a guy who could get open against him, so we just didn't even mess with it. You know, obviously he came in and you knew he had the ability, and it's been neat to see. You know, in 10, I know he got hurt in the championship game, but he's having a really good year. And then 11, like I said, he was the best cover guy, and you know, we didn't have anybody who could win against him, so we threw away from him. And then, I mean, we go against him every day in practice, and we don't get open very much on him, so we know how good he is. And it's huge for us to have a lockdown guy like that on defense. At the same time, a guy who can return kicks and do what he did the other night. You know.
What is it about your offense that makes it so easy to kind of fit it to different talent and that kind of thing?
I don't know. Probably a lot of that is, you know, Coach derived the offense when I was playing in high school. And, you know, in high school it's a little different. You have what you have. You don't recruit your players. So one year you may have a quarterback who can throw for 5,000 yards. The next year you may not have a quarterback who can throw it all. Or you may just have a guy who has exceptional this talent. Or you may have a great O-line one year and you may not. And you kind of got to adapt to what you have. And so I think that's why someone like Coach Malzahn, and I've been fortunate to be with him and learn that same thing, is that, you know, ask guys to do what they're good at, put them in positions to be successful. So, you know, our system is what it is. The foundation is a lot of what I played in. we've tweaked things here or there. So when when you have an identity, you have a foundation, it allows you to install that, and then from there you can tweak it however you need to, a little bit here or there over time to fit the personnel.
How much did it change after his time at Tulsa, when, particularly in the running game, from when you left after 2006, you spent those 2 years and you're not with him, and then you get back with him again, how much more run got involved after those couple of years?
Well, to be honest with you, and when I played, we threw it a lot, mainly just because we could, but Coach has always been a little bit more of a run-first guy, even when we've had years that we've thrown for 5,000 yards. I mean, when he started, he was more of a running guy, and then he developed our no-huddle system and the passing game and all that over time. And when he went to Springdale High School, had some really good running teams. I mean, it wasn't until the last year or two with Mitch, I think, that started really throwing it a whole lot more. And so he's always been great at, I mean, if I need to throw for 400 yards, I can. If I need to rush for 400, take what they give us and with what my personnel can do. He went to Tulsa, had 2 quarterbacks who could make plays. They had good skill players. I don't think they were great up front. They were able to get in the way and get the ball out. And the defenses were different there. And he'd been at Arkansas the year before that. Come to SEC, you're going to have to run the football. And so the run game hadn't changed, to be honest with you. I mean, the base run game when I got back here at Auburn in 9 or whatever it was, for the most part, was the same. Obviously things evolve over time. You tweak some things, but like I said, I think that's personnel driven, and it's sometimes what you're getting on defense.
How does it feel to be one of the 5 finalists for the Broyles, and are you going to go to Little Rock next season?
Yeah, I believe I am, and I mean it's a great honor. It's humbling. I feel like we got 8 other assistants on the staff who deserve it just as much. And I look at things like this the same as for our players getting individual recognition. It's just a reflection of this team and how it's been this year. I mean, we won as a team every week, whether at one part in the game the offense is playing really well and the defense isn't, so we're picking them up, or we start struggling and they start making stops like they did the last 3 drives the other night, or the special teams picks us up. We've won as a team all year. That's this kind of deal, and it just so happens every now and then I guess someone represents the team. But it's a great honor, being from Arkansas, knowing who Coach Broyles is and what he stands for and his reputation. That's a pretty neat deal.
You ever met him? You ever talked to him?
Oh yeah, I mean, I played there and worked there for a year, and he was AD then, so I have met Coach Broyles. Great man.
You spoke very highly of the defense from Missouri, knowing they kind of shut down or held Texas A&M to 21 points or whatever it was. Does that kind of add any more pressure or maybe fear going in knowing that?
There's no pressure or fear. It just adds more respect. I mean, we knew they were a good defense. Just we weren't playing them all year, just tracking. You knew they were having a good year, and you'd see them on TV here or there. And then to see what they did against Ole Miss on the road a couple weeks ago, and then they probably slowed down Johnny Manziel as good as anybody. I think that just reaffirms what we see on film. We already respect them for that, but you watch the film, it all makes sense of why they're as good as they are. And, they got some guys that have been playing there for a while, and they're really good at what they do.
It seems like you guys haven't had very many trick plays, got deals at all this year.
Yeah.
Probably fewer than what we've seen before. Is that by design?
Yeah, I don't know if it started out to be intentionally that way or not. I mean, it kind of goes back to what's working, and we haven't ran as many as we normally do. Doesn't mean we don't still have them. Doesn't mean that they don't still exist and all that. But it's just the way every game's gone, and the way the team's played. I don't know. We just haven't gone that way as much. I don't know if I can put my finger on it. It's not been a conscious "we don't want to" kind of deal. It's just you're right. We haven't.
You guys still work on them though, right? Or is it?
We still have a couple.
Do you have anyone on the roster small enough to be Woody?
I don't even know what plays that.
The running back of high school?
I remember your pick last week. We got some guys. We got some guys of a bunch of different sizes. So, there's plenty of candidates for whatever we might want to do.
Have you talked about playing indoors, knowing what the environment's going to be like? Is that an advantage for the offenses in this game?
I don't know. I mean, I remember in 10 was there, and then in 2006 when I was at the University of Arkansas, we went there, and it gets loud in there. I mean, even if it's a pro Auburn crowd or not, it's going to be loud. And so, but it wasn't anything, when you play on the road in the SEC, the environments we play in, whether we're on the road or whether it's like our defense out here on third down when our fans are going crazy, it doesn't get any louder than that. So I feel like both sides of the ball are probably are prepared for that. You know, what you want to do more than anything is, we have practice indoors. Having indoor helps because just the depth perception and all that's different. But when you get in that dome, the depth perception is different. It's bigger. You got that white ceiling that just, you know, you want to get in there and catch some balls if you can, whether it's on Friday's walkthrough or early on, you know, before pregame. Get out there and have the wideouts catch a few of the quarterbacks. I'm sure kickers and punters and returners are the same way. That's probably the biggest thing. But I mean, it's an awesome atmosphere. I mean, it's as good atmosphere as there is anywhere. SEC championship game.
Right, it's kind of unique to have a head coach and one of the coordinators up for the two biggest coaching awards in the nation. So can you kind of speak to that? Have you had any discussion with Gus about, you know, the unlikeliness of that?
Not really. We hadn't talked about it all. I mean, obviously Coach Malzahn's done a fantastic job leading us. I mean, I think he deserves to be right up there with anybody. I mean, what he's you know, led us as a staff and the players to do is exceptional, and we just want to finish. You know, but I think it always goes back to our team. I mean, people get recognized when the team does well, and that's what you tell players. Individual recognition comes when the team does well. Very rarely do you see individuals getting awards or whatever when they're on a team that's not successful. And from day one, we had these bracelets stay together. They've been together. You know, some things early on went our way to where we got some confidence, and it's grown each week. And you know, when that happens, you're fortunate to be 11-1. Things like that probably come along, but it all goes back to the players. They're the ones winning the games. They're the ones running the play back at the end of the game and all that.
Gus has pointed out that he never had a quarterback for 2 seasons, back-to-back seasons. What do you think it's going to be like? I know you don't want to look ahead, but what do you think it's going to be like when you have Nick back next season?
I'm really excited about that. I mean, I think it's going to be good because I know the type of kid he is, the kind of work he's going to put in to improve himself. Same thing with Jeremy now. I mean, you know, he's young and very talented. And so it's going to be really neat with both those guys to see how they attack it. But if they attack the way I think they will, you know, I would expect marked improvement over the spring and summer in the next year. And, you know, we got a lot of guys coming back, so you would hope that would bode well for us. But it will be new. I mean, he's never had one, and, you know, in a couple stops I've been at, I've never had the same guy back-to-back. So, you know, that'll be pretty nice.
How about the 2 catches? How about the 2 catches CJ made?
It's CJ. You know, he may not be a guy with 50, 60, 70 catches, but he makes the big catches. I mean, that touchdown catch he made was incredible. Got interfered with. I mean, yeah, it was a great throw. Couldn't put anywhere else. But, you know, you got a corner and a safety coming over and goes up double coverage and just takes it. The 3rd down catch he caught on the inside slant. It was a good throw again. Catch. He takes a pop, you know, and holds on to the ball. You know, that's the way CJ's been. He's been very steady, very reliable for us. You know, Tennessee's another one. He had 1 catch. It was the big touchdown. I mean, that's just kind of the way he's been this year. And, you know, he's steady for us at all spots.